ready to go in now. All right, it's working. Check it out. Yes, we are live. We are alive and alive. Wish I was more alive. Okay. All right, and let me get the guitar, which is right there. All right. Now what do we have here? Our handy songbook. All right. Just to wake you all up. Let me tune this thing. Okay. Jiv jago, Borachana bore. Jiv jago, Borachana more. Kutanitra, Yamaya, Sachirakore. Kutanitra, Yamaya, Sachirakore. Manjiva Palia, he say, Samsara Vita, Grey. Ruhile to me, Vijagarpare, Majiva Palia, he say, Samsara Vitsare, Uria, Ruhile to me, Vijagarpare, Tomare. I knew I'm no mare like day, mommy. Boy, no, I'm a tara. Ami bina banduara, kaya chay tomara. Ami bina banduara. Jay tomorrow, Yene Jay, Shoni Maya, Nasi Barat, Lucky, Urinama, Mantra, love to me, Maki, Yene Jay, Shoni Maya. Sipar Hagi Urirama Mantra Lao do me maki Bhakti Vinoda Prabhu Chalane Bhaktiya Say Harinama Mantra Loila Makia Say Harinama Mantra Loila Makia Jago, Jago, Gorakshan, Bolagi, Kotanidra, Yawaya, Pisachirako, Jaya Prabhu, Pada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Paramacharya also Teta Satashi Shimad. His Divine Grace Savaya Charanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Param Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Sai Mukunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Maturadam Ki Jai Jagadath Sami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Shrimati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premalanda Hari Hari Bol. All glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastime Bodily. Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pajani Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschatcha Deja Tarane Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, we're going to read this translation. Lord Gaurachandra is calling, wake up, sleeping soul, wake up, sleeping soul. How long will you sleep in the lap of the witch called Maya? You have forgotten the way of devotional service and are lost in the cycle of birth and death. I have descended just to save you. I am your only true friend. Other than me, what friend do you have? I have brought the medicine that will wipe out the disease of illusion from which you suffer. Take this great chant for deliverance, Mahamantra, the names of Hari. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, falling at the Lord's lotus feet, take shelter of the Harinam mantra, the Lord's holy names. Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai. So now we'll go into the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Omagana Timidandasha Gananjana Shlakayat Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master's divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. So, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhaktivinoda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhaktivinoda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Okay, so we're ready. We're going to share the screen. Whoops. All right, there we go. Share the screen. And here we go. So right now we are discussing, talking, communicating, however you want to put it, I don't know. You know, it's just whatever. Let me just get the screen set up here, okay. Right, I don't need that. And we are talking about Lord Chaitanya's impending marriage to his first wife, Lakshmi Priya, And this is the romantic section for those of you who like romantic things. But the Lord's romance is relishable, whereas the romances in this world that are between two conditioned souls is not relishable. It's just, so what? Okay, no comments, no sannyasi comments right now. Okay, so here we're going to hear about the Lord's first marriage, beginning with text 54 in the Caitanya Bhagavat. Hari bolena tabe Vanamali Acharya putra vivake rakene nachintaha karya. So, all right, let me give you a little background here. There's the marriage broker for this particular village. His name is Vanamali Acharya. And so, practically every village or town had a marriage broker or several marriage brokers, and they would arrange marriages rather than having people arrange their own, because when they arranged their own, it was often a disaster, because love marriages tend to be very, very bad. Sometimes they're good. Once in a while. It's like Russian roulette. Russian roulette is a game that, well, not really a game. Something that people used to do is they had a gun, and they had 6 chambers in the gun, and they put a bullet in one of the chambers, and they rolled it, the old type of Western gun. They rolled it, and put the gun to their head, pulled the trigger, and hopefully, they weren't going to kill themselves. So it's the same thing when people who are in love arrange something. Well, they don't kill themselves. Hopefully not. Sometimes they do. It's just you don't know what's going to happen long term. Whereas these marriage arrangers, brokers, whatever you may call them, they actually consulted astrology and were very, very careful in their arrangements. So Vanamali Acharya then asked Shachi, Lord Chaitanya's mother, why aren't you thinking about arranging your son's marriage? Remember, Lord Chaitanya was quite young. So it's described that Vanamali Gathakat is described in the Gorgona Deshtipika as follows. The matchmaker, Sri Vishwamitra, who arranged the marriage of Sri Ramchandra with Sita Devi, and who was the Brahmin messenger that Rukmini sent to Keshava, has now appeared as Vanamali Pandit. Balabhadra Kule. Balabhadra Kule Shile Sarachare Nudoshe Vaisena Navadvipera Bitare. In Navadvip resides one Balabhadra, who was born in an exalted family. He is pure, well-behaved, and decorated with many good qualities. Tanda Kanya Lakshmi Praya Rupe Shile Mane Se Sambandakara Yadi Ichai Haya Mane. He has a daughter whose beauty, qualities, and temperament are as good as Lakshmi. If you wish, I will arrange their marriage. Oh my God. Pretty quick. Aibole Pitrihina Balaka Amara Jiyuka Paruka Gaitabe Karya Ara. Mother Sachi replied, my son is fatherless. Leave him alone to study for some time. Later I will consider. Ira Kataya Vipraras Napaya Talilena Viprakityu Duki Tahaya. The Brahmin was not satisfied with Sachi's answer and therefore left disappointed. This is, we don't need to go through this whole thing. Daive pate dekahaila Gaurachandra sange Taradeke alingana Kaila Prabhu range. As he left by providence, he met Gaurachandra, who happily embraced him. Prabhu bole kaha gya chile kon bite Dvija bole tumara janani sambashite. The Lord inquired, tell me, where have you been? The Brahmin replied, I was speaking with your mother. Tumara vivaha lagi palilana tante. Najani shunya shraddha nakai lena kene. I offered her a proposal for your marriage, but for some reason, I don't understand. She refused. Shunitana vachana ishvara mona haila hasitare sambasya mandire aila. Hearing his words, Nimai remained silent for a moment. He then smiled and spoke a little more with the Brahmin before returning to his house. Janantire hasya bolena sekshane acharyare sambasha nakaila balakine. When the Lord got home, he asked his mother, "Why didn't you respect the Brahmin's proposal?" Putrera ingitapaye sachi hara shita aradine viprayane kahilena kata. Mother Shachi was pleased to receive an indication from her son. The next day she called the Brahmana to her home. Shachi bole vipradakale ye kahila to me shigra taha karaha kahinu e ami. Shachi said, "O Brahmana, I've decided that you may immediately arrange what you proposed yesterday." Oh my God, quick arrangement. Ira charanaduli laya brahmanha sekshane chalilena balabhadra bhavana. The Brahman took the dust from Mother Shachi's feet and immediately left for the house of Balabhacharya. Balabhacharya deki sambrame tahane bahumana kari vasailena asane. On seeing the Brahman, Balabhacharya offered him his seat with great respect. Acharya bolena shunamara vachana kanya vivahera ebe karasu lagana. Vanamali Acharya said, "Please hear me. Choose an auspicious day for the marriage of your daughter." The word su logana means an auspicious time. The portion of the zodiac that appears on the eastern horizon at a particular time is called the Udaya Lagna, or rising sign. Since the zodiac is divided into 12, each part is known as a Lagna. Mishra Purandara Putra Nama Vishwambara Parama Pandita Sarva Gunera Sagara. The son of Jagannath Mishra, Shri Vishwambar, is highly learned and an ocean of good qualities. Tomara Kanyara Yogya Ekse Mahashaya Kahilana He Kara Yari Chite Laya. This great personality is the proper match for your daughter. Now you decide what you would like to do. Shunya Balabhacharya Bolena Harishe Sehena Kanyara Pati Mile Bhagyavashe. Balabhacharya joyfully replied, "Such a husband for my daughter is achieved by great fortune." Wow. Krishna Yadisu Prasana Haina Amare Atava Kamalagori Santushta Kanyare Tabise Se Hainahasi Milebe Jamata Avilambe Tumiha Karaha Sarvata. If Krishna is pleased with me and Lakshmi and Parvati are pleased with my daughter, then I will be blessed. Will be blessed. There's a mistake, spelling mistake here, or actually editing mistake. I will be blessed with such a husband for my daughter. You may arrange everything without delay. Haribol. Sabeka vachana balite hajapai ami se nirdanakitchu dite shakti nai. But I have one request that I'm embarrassed to disclose. I am poor and have no means to offer a dowry. So explain what a dowry is. A dowry, of course, is, in those days, was something that the girl's family had to supply. And usually it was gold or golden jewelry and something worth a lot of money. Actually, Prabhupada said, it's interesting, that the dowry was not actually meant for the husband just to take and spend on computers or something like. Prabhupada didn't say computers. But the dowry was actually meant in case there was an emergency and something happened with the husband, then like the husband passes away or something, then the daughter's taken care of. So it was actually kept, not spent willy-nilly by some man or by the husband's family like nowadays. Because nowadays, of course, there's a dowry negotiation, and even sometimes they reach an agreement as to the amount of the dowry, and then the marriage gets ready to take place the marriage day, and then the boy's family ups the ante, so to speak, and asks for more money, and then it's a disaster for the girl because her reputation is going to be finished. And then many times the girl would actually commit suicide because of concern with her reputation, because she showed up for her marriage, she's supposed to be engaged, and then she's rejected. In the Western world, it's hard to understand that. I mean, people go through many boyfriends, girlfriends, rejection, acceptance, rejection. She loves me not. She loves me not. But in India, reputation is so important. In America, nobody has a reputation, so it doesn't really matter. People have bad reputation. Anyway, people are not concerned. Kanyamatra Diva Pancha Haritaki Dia Sabe Agda to me Anibe Magia. I can only offer 5 Haritaki, my robalan fruits, along with my daughter. Please beg their consent. In other words, just something that doesn't mean anything or isn't of any value, but it's in place of something that was valuable. Anyway, so at least the ceremony could go on. Balabhadra Bhattacarya Shunya Acharya Santoshe Aila Siddhi Kari Sarvakarya. Hearing the words of Balabhadra Vanamali Acharya happily completed all the formalities. Siddhi Kata Hasya Kahila Astane Aistane Sapala Aila Karya Karastubakshane. He then returned to Mother Shachi's house and informed Mother Shachi, the formalities have been completed. Now you may choose an auspicious time for the ceremony. Aptaloka Shuni Sabe Harashita Haila Sabe Udyoga Hasi Katite Lagila. When the Lord's relatives heard the news, they joyfully began to make arrangements. So that's sort of engaging one's desire to enjoy family life in Krishna consciousness. And of course, the couple is completely transcendental. Adivasa Lagna Karilena Shubha Dine Richagita Nanavajya Vaya Natagane. On an auspicious day, they held the Adivasa ceremony, during which people danced and sang while musicians played various instruments. The rituals in which sandalwood pulp and flower garlands are offered the day before an auspicious ceremony is called Adivasa. And that means it's inauguration. Basically, it's an inauguration. And you see this in India sometimes when there's going to be, for example, in Mayapur, the parikrama around Mayapur, or some big ceremony. The day before, there'll be the Adivasa, and sometimes they'll raise a flag and everything like that. So it's done at marriages, big ceremonies, get-togethers, sanghas, etc., like that. There's usually an Adivasa. That's a ceremony. It's interesting that in India, there's always some consecration of a particular event or something. Just like if you're going to build a building, there's the consecration of the land. There's a lane of Anantashesh in the corner of the building. There's so many different mantras that are chanted. This is to invoke auspiciousness. So the same thing with the Adivasa. Before marriage, it invokes auspiciousness. Chaturdike Dvijagana Kare Vena Dwani Majay Chandra Samavasi Lena Dvijamani. All around, the Brahmin has recited Vedic hymns as Nimai, the jewel, the twice-born, appeared like the moon in their midst. While performing the ritualistic ceremonies and purificatory rites prescribed in the Grihya, not Griha, Graha, wouldn't be Grihya, because then Krishna would be Krishna, Grihya Sutras, Vedic mantras are recited. Udvaha, or the marriage ceremony, is one of the 48, 16, or 10 samskaras. 48 samskaras! Oh my God, your whole life you're going to be doing samskaras. Hoo-wee! I just like my samskara. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That takes care of everything. All these other samskaras. Oh my God. Of course they're important, but you know, it's life. And family flies from all over the world to see some samskara. My family didn't come to see my sannyas initiation. Anyway, that's very unfortunate. They should have all come. Usually, family doesn't come for that. Let me just turn this phone off. Okay. All right, and an auspicious moment, the relatives and Brahmins offered sandalwood pulp and flower garlands to the Lord, thereby completing the Adivasa ceremony. Divyaganda Chandana Tambula Maladiya Brahmana Ganere Tushilena Harsha Haya. The relatives also satisfied the Brahmanas by offering them sandalwood pulp, betel nuts, and flower garlands. Balabhadra Bhattacarya si yatha vidi rupe Adivasa Kriya Galena Kotuke. Following tradition, Balabhadra Bhattacarya also came and joyfully took part in the Adivasa ceremony. Prabhati Uttiya Prabhu Kari Snana Dana Pitrigane Pujilena Kariya Samana. After Nimai woke the next morning, he took bath, gave charity, and respectfully worshipped his forefathers. Nrichagita Vajje Mahautila Mangala Chaturdike Leha Deha Shuni Kola Hala. Auspicious sounds of singing, dancing, and musical instruments filled the atmosphere. Everywhere, excited people were calling out, "Take this! Give that!" Take this, give that. Anyway. Katava midilahasi patti vrata gana kateka va ishta mitra brahmana sajana. Many chaste women, well-wishers, friends, and respected brahmanas graced the function. Tayi Kala Sindura Tambula Taila Dia Striganera Hai Tushilena Harshahana. Mother Shachi happily satisfied the ladies with puff rice, bananas, vermilion, betel, and oil. Devagana Devavadu Gana Nada Rupe Prabhura Vivage Ase Achena Kotuke. Demigods and their wives took the form of humans and also happily attended the Lord's marriage. Balabhadra Himata Vidikrame Karilena Devapitri Karya Harsha Mane. Balabhadra joyfully worshipped the demigods and forefathers according to Vedic injunctions. Tabi Prabhu Shubha Kshane Gotule Samaye Yatra Karya Elena Mishreara Alaye. At an auspicious time at dusk, the Lord arrived at the house of Balabhadra. The phrase "go duli samaya" refers to the time of sunset when the herds of cows return to the Goshala and the dust from their hooves covers the sky. Generally, this is a suitable time. Is there? I don't see it there. Is a suitable time for auspicious activities. Maybe I'll have to move these things to the side. No, this is another mistake in the editing. This is suitable. No, this is suitable for auspicious activities like marriage. This time has three symptoms: in autumn and winter season, when the sun's rays are mild and the sun appears to be a red ball. 2, in summer and spring season, when the sun is setting and only half of it is visible. And 3, in rainy and fall season, when the sun becomes invisible after setting. You gotta remember that when someone gets married. Prabhu Asileha Matra Mishra Goshti Sane Ananda Sagara Magna Haila Save Mane. As soon as the Lord arrived, Balabhacharya and his associates drowned, E.D., in an ocean of bliss. Another editing mistake. Sambramayasana yatavidi rupe Yamataravasa paramak kotuke. He then respectfully offered a seat to his son-in-law, that's Lord Chaitanya, and welcomed him according to Vedic injunctions. Sheshe sarvalankare karya bhushita Lakshmi Kanya Nilena Prabhura Samipa. Balabhacharya then had his beautifully decorated daughter brought before the Lord. So usually at this particular part of the ceremony, the girl circumambulates the whole arena. And she's covered. She has a lot of friends who are unmarried. And they hold a cloth over her as she's circumambulating the groom and the whole arena about 7 times. And then she sits down next to the groom and they see each other for the first time. It is so romantic. Everyone began to chant the names of Hari as they lifted Lakshmi off the ground. Oh, this is described exactly what I said. Tabi Lakshmi Pradakshina Kari Saptabhara Yoda Haste Rahilena Kari Namaskara. So she's supposed to be carried. Oh, we got to remember this next time we do a marriage. That the bride is supposed to be carried around her husband 7 times. So Lakshmi was carried around Nimai 7 times. Okay, next time I have to make sure that the bride doesn't weigh too much. Whew. Otherwise it's going to take about... And men can't carry her either. So it takes some pretty hefty ladies. So as they place her before him, she offered him obeisances with folded hands. Tabi sheshe haila pushpa mala pela pele Lakshmi Narayana dhone maha kutuhale. As they finally exchanged flower garlands, that means they're married. Lakshmi and the original Narayan were both greatly pleased. Divya malal tiya Lakshmi prabhura charane namaskare karilena atma samarpane. After Lakshmi offered flower garlands at the feet of the Lord, she offered him obeisances with full surrender. Sarvadike Maha Jaya Jaya Hari Dhvane Utila Paramananda Ara Nahi Shune. All that could be heard was the ecstatic chanting of all glories to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Hari. And I'm sure they were also making these sounds that they make in Bengal that sound like gargling. Like that. Men are not supposed to make that sound. It's not auspicious. So I will not do it. But you hear this all the time in India, especially Bengal. When they open the deities, and there's a lot of people from Bengal there, you hear this yodeling sound really loud. It's a sound of ecstasy, auspiciousness. Anyway, we don't do it in America. Henamate Shri Mukha Chandrika Kari Rase Vasilena Prabhu Lakshmi Kari Mama Pashe. In this way, after they performed the ceremony of seeing each other's face for the first time, the Lord sat down with Lakshmi on his left. Pratama Vayasa Prabhu Jinina Madana Mama Pashe Lakshmi Vasilena Sekshana. The Lord's fresh youthful beauty defeated that of Cupid as Lakshmi then sat at his left side. Ki Shobha Ki Sukha Se Haila Mishra Gare Konjana Tahavani Bhare Shakti Dare. Who has the ability to describe that wonderful scene and the happiness that was experienced at the house of Balabhadra Mishra? Tabi Sheshe Balabha Karide Kanya Dan Fasilena Yehena Bhishmaka Vidyaman. At last, Balabhacharya, who was non-different from Bhishmaka, that's the father of Rukmini, sat down to give away his daughter. Ye Chanane Padyadiya Shankara Brahmara Jagat Shri Jite Shakti Haila Sabara. Aina Pada Padme Padya Dilavi Pravara Vastramalya Chandale Ushya Kalevara. Someone just sent me a link. He said that gargling is called ululation. Ululation. Okay, so we're going to teach all the devotees how to do ululate tomorrow at the temple. We'll have a lesson. The same lotus feet that are worshipped by Shankara and Brahma to obtain the power of creation were now worshipped by the respected Brahmana Balabhadra. He then also decorated the body of the Lord with cloth, flower garlands, and sandalwood pulp. Yatavidi rupe kanyakari samarpana ananda sagare magna haila brahmana. After duly offering his daughter to the Lord, the Brahmana became absorbed in an ocean of bliss. Tabiyata kichu kula vyavahara che pativrata ganata harilena pache. Thereafter, the chaste women performed the various traditional family rituals. The phrase kula vyavahara refers to the activities of women. Se rachitataya takitabayara dine nija grihe chalilena prabhu Lakshmi sane. That night the Lord stayed at the house of Balabhadra, and the next day he returned home with Lakshmi, Lakshmi Priya's wife. Lakshmi Rasahita Prabhu Charya Dulaya Aisena Dikite Sakala Loka Daya. As the Lord and Lakshmi were carried home in a palanquin, people came running out of their house to see them. So that's another thing we have to add at marriages. The ululation and the palanquin and the carrying the bride around 7 times. You don't let her walk, you carry her. Gandamalya alankara mukata chandana kajvalai ujvala dui Lakshmi Narayana. Both Lakshmi and the original Narayana were wonderfully decorated with sandalwood paste, flower garlands, ornaments, crowns, and bright kajal. Sarvalokadeki matra danya danya bole visheshe Sri Ganati Parilena bole. Everyone who saw them exclaimed, "How wonderful!" The ladies were all particularly amazed. Kata kala eva bhagavate hara gorhi nishkapate sivilena kata bhakti kari. Someone said, they exactly resemble Shiva and Parvati. They must have worshipped the Lord without duplicity for a long time. Apabhagye kanyara kihena swami mile ehara gorihena ushia keha bole. Can a less fortunate girl possibly get such a nice husband? I conclude that they are Shiva and Parvati. Keyak bole indra shachi ratindva madana konanari bole Lakshmi Narayana. Someone else said they resemble Indra and Shachi, or Madana and Rati. So I'll explain what that is. Because Indra is the head of the demigods, the administrative demigods, and Sachi is his wife. And Madana is Cupid, and Rati is his wife. One girl said they are Lakshmi and Narayan. Konanari Ganapole, Yena Sita Rama, Dolopare Shobiache, Adyanupama. Another girl said, by their unparalleled beauty, it appears Sita and Ram are seated on that palanquin. E mata nanarupe, bole nari gane, shubha drishche savedeke, Lakshmi Narayana. In this way, the girls spoke in various ways as they joyfully watched Lakshmi and the original Narayan. Heinamate nrichigita vajakola hale nijagrihe Prabhu Alina Sanja Kale. When the couple arrived at Nimai's house in the evening, they were festively greeted by dancing, singing, and the playing of musical instruments. Tavi Shachi Devi Vipra Patni Gana Laya Putrabadu Garayani Lena Harsha Hoya. Sachi Devi with some other Brahmin ladies then jubilantly welcomed her daughter-in-law home. Dvija Adi Yata Jati Nata Bhajaniya Sabari Tushiladana Vastravakyadya. Thereafter, Mother Sachi satisfied the Brahmanas, musicians, and dancers with money, cloth, and sweet words. So, of course, in India you have, because Brahmins, they exist on charity, and so do the dancers and musicians. But the dancers and musicians are considered to be the Sudra class, because they're much more sensual. So, yeah, they're also taken care of. Ye Shunaye Prabhura Vivaha Punya Kata Tahara Sangsara Banda Nahaya Sarvata. Whoever hears these auspicious topics of the Lord's marriage is never entangled in worldly life. Wow! So if you're planning to get married, don't listen to this. Or if you are married, don't listen to these pastimes, because you want to get entangled. I think I will read. It's probably a pretty heavy purport by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Anyway, I'll read it. Alrighty. Let's go back to the beginning. In this mature world, people become joyful by hearing about the marriage of a boy and girl. Encouraged by such topics, the conditioned souls become eager to face the miseries of material bondage. What a phrase. The conditioned souls become eager to face the miseries of material bondage. But the topics related with the marriage of Sriman Mahaprabhu, who is the controller of Maya, are not like this. The pastime of the Lord is meant, this pastime of the Lord is meant to demonstrate the uselessness of material existence. A living entity who is attached to material enjoyment considers the marriage of a mundane boy and girl to be the ideal example of sense grad. And if he considers the spiritual pastimes of the Supreme Lord's marriage as similar to the conditioned soul's sense gratificatory activities, which are apparently sweet but ultimately poison, he will certainly be entangled in the bondage of material existence. Because the marriages in this world are based upon the false identification of the body. I mean, no matter what your gender or changing genders or whatever, it's all based upon your false identification. All of false identification. Whether you change genders, keep your genders, give up your genders, or engender someone. No, sorry. It doesn't make a difference because it's all false identification. That's right. That's right. It's like you change your name. You go to the government, you can change your name legally, but you're still the same old person suffering in the material world. Your enjoyment or suffering is determined by your karma. So whatever you change, whatever you buy, wherever you go, you take your karma with you. But the Supreme Lord is the only object of all enjoyment. Haribo! And the servants, maidservants, and wonderful ingredients of service, which are all under his control, cannot produce such inauspiciousness. Wherever the happiness of the Lord is present, the sense gratification of living entities cannot remain. In this regard, one should discuss nectarian statements such as the following verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhak 11.2.42. Bhakti Pareshanu Pavo Viraktir Anyatra Chaisha Trikaika Kala. Devotion, direct experience of the Supreme Lord, and detachment from other things. These three occur simultaneously. Haribo. In other words, you just strive for devotion. What does devotion mean? To try to please Rishikesh Sevanam Bhakti Uchite. Try to please Krishna. Then automatically you see the Lord and you get detached from the material objects. And from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, 1-187, a famous verse. Ihi asha hare rashe kamana mandasa gira nikalashvapi avastasu jivan mukta suchate. A person acting in the service of Krishna with his body, mind, intelligence, and words is a liberated person, even within the material world, although he may engage in many apparent material activities. The Supreme Lord Vishnu is the transcendental controller of Maya. That's the material world. So to consider him material or like an ordinary living entity is a great offense. When a transcendental service attitude towards the Supreme Lord Vishnu is awakened, then liberated devotees inclined towards serving the Lord are no longer entangled in material bondage. In other words, if a living entity is eager to please the Supreme Lord, he becomes freed from the bondage of material existence, which is separate from the Lord, and never personally endeavors for sense gratification or material enjoyment. Prabhu Parshve Lakshmira Haila Vastana Shachi Griha Haila Parama Jyotir Dhamma. With Lakshmi at the side of the Lord, the house of Shachi appeared like Vaikuntha, the most effulgent abode. Niravadi Deke Shachi Ki Gare Bahire Parama Adbhuta Jyoti Lakite Na Pare. Such a wonderful effulgence constantly emanated from the house that Mother Shachi could not even see properly. Wow, it was so bright. By the arrival of Srimati Lakshmi Priya Devi, who is the direct personification of one of the Supreme Lord's internal potencies, spiritual potencies, known as Sri Shakti, the house of Sri Shakti Devi actually became the effulgent Vaikuntha abode of the Supreme Lord. Kakana putrera pashe deke agni shika ulatia chahite napaya aradeka. Sometimes Shachi saw flames of fire at the side of her son, but when she looked again, they were gone. Kamala pushpera ganda kshane paya parama vismita chintena sadaya. When she sometimes smelled the fragrance of a lotus flower, she was utterly astonished. Whoops. Ai chinte pushilana karana ihara ekanyaya adishtana ache kamalara. Sachi thought, I can understand the reason for this. This girl is a plenary portion of Lakshmi. She was right. Absolutely correct. Adivasa Jyoti Deki Padmaganda Pai Purvapraya Daridrata Dukha Eve Nai. That is why I see this effulgence and smell the fragrance of lotus flowers. Now we may not face any poverty like before. Lord Chaitanya was taking care of her with mounds of gold anyway. E Lakshmi Vadu Grihe Pravishile Kota Haite Na Jani Asya Saba Mile. Otherwise, where's everything come from since this daughter-in-law Lakshmi entered my house? E Rupa Nanamata Kataya Kaya Vyakta Haya O Prabhu Vyakta Nahi Hoya. In this way, Mother Shachi had various thoughts as the Lord almost, but not quite, manifest himself. In other words, almost. Although the Supreme Lord appeared in this world out of his sweet will, he did not manifest his covered pastimes to everyone. Ishvarara Icha Bhujibhara Shakti Kara Ki Rupe Karena Kon Kalera Vihara. Who could understand the supreme will of the Lord? How and when does he perform his pastimes? The words Kalera Vihara mean enjoying pastimes suitable for a particular place. And one more verse, and then we will take questions. Ishvare se apanare na janaya yabe Lakshmi o janite shakti na darena tabe. Until the Lord himself allows one to know, Even Lakshmi has no power to understand him. By the supreme will of the Lord, his covered pastimes are beyond the perception of even his internal potencies. In other words, his own wife, who was Lakshmi, didn't realize, I'm married Narayan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so now we will stop sharing, and we will, give me 1 second, participants, and allow you to unmute yourselves. All right. I think Mr. Gopal has a question.
Please
His
accept my
wife,
basic
Gopal's wife is like Lakshmi.
Yes,
That's
she
why
is.
Gopal is so opulent at this point. She's a great devotee.
Gurudev, Mother Sachi and Mother Yashoda and Mother Devaki and all of these parental figures that are appearing as Krishna's mother,
Yeah.
are they Shakti Tattva or are they Jiva
No, no, no,
Tattva?
no, no, no. They're not Shakti Tattva. They're Jiva.
I see.
But there's only one of them, only one mother for Krishna, in the pastime. Of course, Krishna actually has no mother. Krishna has no mother. But for the sake of, enjoyment, Krishna manifests someone as his mother.
Sometimes it's described that Radharani is the universal mother, or Lakshmi Devi or Sita Devi
No,
is the
no,
universal.
but yeah, but Lakshmi is a different potency. That she's an expansion of Radharani. She's Shakti Tattva.
Shakti Tattva.
So the mother of Krishna is not Shakti Tattva, and not
I see.
only mother of Krishna, mother of Ram, and of course sometimes they're empowered expansions of a particular individual, like Diti, for example, who's
Mm,
the mother of Vamana Devi.
mm.
Anyway,
Thank you.
if only if I could go back to the spiritual world. No, if only I could serve Krishna in this world. If only I could please Prabhupada. We just want to please Prabhupada. So, who else has a question? Raise your hand, type in the text window, or unmute yourself if you're very bold. Does anyone have a question? It wasn't too much philosophy. It was just an ecstatic explanation. And, another point is when you hear about the marriage of the Lord, the romantic affairs of Krishna, and all the Lord's pastimes, we sort of lose an attraction to do those same things or be the center ourselves. So, Madhava, you have a question.
Hare Krishna, Dandavad Gurudev. So I see here Balabhadra Acharya, who was the father of Vishnu Priya. He says he has nothing, he can't offer dowry. So how Lakshmi appears in a poor home?
Pastime. Pastime, there's a pastime, but he was happy. So, really, what is Lakshmi anyway? I mean, what is Lakshmi means happiness and opulence, but what is opulence? Opulence is devotional service and attachment to the Lord. This thing with money and jewelry is actually Maya Lakshmi in this world. Of course, it was used for Krishna, it's actually Lakshmi. But, we're thinking that money, will give us happiness, but money cannot buy us happiness. So they had plenty of opulence in their home, but just didn't have plenty of money. So let's differentiate opulence from money. Okay? All right, one final question by Sripad, His Divine Grace, Prime Govinda. So, Prime Govinda, you got to mute yourself. You raise your hand. You have your question. You raise your hand, Prime Govinda. Okay.
Maharaj, am I audible now?
You are audible. You're muted before.
I am with 6 bhaktas here, and they are very thrilled to hear your wonderful explanation on Lord Chaitanya's wedding. So
Well,
please bless us. They all want to say Hare Krishna to you and they want blessing from you.
Okay. Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Good to hear you. I can't see you. Don't you have a camera?
We are driving to a program.
Hopefully you're not driving.
It's a risk.
You can turn on the camera on the phone.
We're hands-free.
I don't know how you do that. Maybe. But Maharaj can see everybody. Probably.
Yeah, I'd like to see everybody.
All right. Why not?
Okay.
Maharaj.
Haribo, still can't see anybody.
Really?
All I see is Pran Govinda's smiling face. But it's a picture. Okay, I mean, it's Krishna doesn't want to reveal the Vaishnavas to me right now. Oh, there we go. Okay. Hey, you had you for a second. Let me just spotlight you for everybody. Hey, Hare Krishna. Bright, smiling faces. One day many years ago, I was a new devotee, and I'm an old devotee. You're driving. Oh my God, you're driving. Okay, take care of these devotees nicely. One day we'll visit Alachua and see you all. Okay, we're going to end class. Thank you very much. All glories to His Divine Grace. Srila Prabhupada.